Whoa, we're live. It's on the Stick After Dark. Not in the
Whoa.
center of that frame. There we go. I need to bring this beverage over here because it's fucking warm in here. Also, I apologize if there's like fan noise from my ceiling fan, but it is way too fucking hot to turn it off, so.
That could just be me, because I'm a fan of you, Joe.
Ah, thanks, Mike. All right, so tonight we are checking out this new collection of old shoot 'em ups. It's called what is the actual proper name of it? It's like a combination of the two Japanese titles of the games. Hishou Same, I believe, is the name of the compilation.
And these are shooters from who?
Toaplan.
Toaplan. So, Toaplan are the zeroing people, right?
So this is the first one of these. This was Kyoku Tiger Heli, which is also a combination of the names of the two, like including that one. And apparently M2 is planning to release all of every game in Toaplan's library eventually. So
A lot of games.
yeah, it's a pretty fair amount. So these the Toaplan people. So yes, the Toaplan people are among other things. Which game did you just mention? Which one was it?
Zero Wing?
Zero Wing.
You know.
Zero Wing, Fire
new game.
Shark. So this is Flying Shark and Fire Shark.
Two types of shark, yes.
Yes, the two genders of shark. Hishou Same is Flying Shark, and Same is Fire Shark. And then these have all included bonus games, and I can't remember what the name of this bonus game is, but it's like a platformer that's interesting. But these are M2 things. M2 they're like big shooter fans, obviously. This is part of their ShotTriggers line, and this particular set, which is getting physical releases in Japan, is called the Toaplan Arcade Garage. And like I said, they've done two so far, and they all include not just like the original games, but also all of the ports. These two games didn't get as many ports as the first. Like the first one was the Tiger Heli, Kyoku Tiger Heli from Kyoku Tiger and Tiger Heli. Had a bunch of stuff on it because a lot of these games got ported to a bunch of different systems. And also this one included an arcade version, an unreleased two-player arcade variant of Tiger Heli. That I don't think they've even been dumped. This one is a little lighter on special features, but it's still pretty. And it has all the normal. We'll get into a game actually. So it has all the normal sort of stuff that you kind of expect from
M2 joints.
the M2 joint, right? So as you can see here, okay, we've got just the basic arcade game. We've got the super easy mode, which is basically like if this is your first time playing a shooter like this, or playing a Toaplan game, you might want to try the super easy mode. There's a custom mode where you can kind of mess with the settings as you want. There's the arcade challenge mode, which is like there's a leaderboard on the leaderboard, and then there's the other version, which is like Sky Shark, I believe, is the European version, and Flying Shark is the US version. I don't remember exactly. Those are on here too. And then there's...
But what about Baby Shark?
Don't. And then Sky Shark for the NES is there's a manual, which I can't read because one thing that I will, like basically my criticism of this game, of these collections, is that they don't put anything in English. Nothing was translated. And eventually it did come out in the US, but like the Kunio collection, Kunio Kun The World Classics collection, like if you have your system language set to English, all the menus are in English, everything is in English, and these games, these collections, nothing is in English. So if you go into the menus and want to try to adjust the settings, you kind of have to muddle your way through it, because there you go. Like here's how to play. Hope you're real good at reading Japanese. So yeah, you see all these gadgets, as M2 calls them, the shot trigger gadgets, and you can see, I'll be able to see my weapon level, I'll be able to see how many bombs I have, I'll be able to keep track of how many bullets are on screen at any given time. You can see where the next item carriers, the bonus stuff, which is normally hidden from view, like in a lot of these older games, like you kind of had to figure out the scoring for yourself. All that stuff is revealed in the shot triggers gadgets there. And then also, if you are so inclined that you have like a flip grip or a monitor with a tilt stand, you can play this game in Toaplan mode.
Gator up.
But I'm not going to do that because it's not good. Just streaming with the game in Tate mode is not like the most viewer-friendly experience. And then I'll run
I've done it.
Yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, it would end up kind of looking the same, right? It's like you wouldn't see all the gadgets and stuff. You would just see. On the right there, you've got a map screen. That's pretty useful. And just like M2 just puts so much care into all this stuff. Also, playing games like this while you're talking is like not easy. So if I'm playing like a total scrub, it's only partially because I am a total scrub, but it's also partially because talking about But yeah, I don't know. I think the feeling is kind of just that there's like not really a thirst for these in the US, and this isn't like the Capcom beat 'em up bundle, which like I got the physical version from Japan because you didn't get a physical release in the US. This didn't get a digital release in the US either, so you can buy it in the eShop if you have a Japanese eShop account. There's no US version. So I guess again the perception is that there's not like a desire for these games, and I mean, I don't know. That's probably true to some extent.
Clearly, M2 has never met Joe Drilling.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who... I mean, that's the thing. Shoot 'em ups are a niche genre. So it's like... Yeah, there are people who like them. I mean, I also just, like, because it's on sale this week, I just picked up Mushihime Same, on the eShop, which did get a US release. So like clearly whoever is distributing Cave's stuff now, they think that it's worth releasing in the US. But for some reason, and a lot of the other M2 shot triggers are available at least for download or through limited run games or whatever. But just for whatever reason, and maybe they will eventually. I don't know. It took Dangan Fever out like a year to get a US release on the eShop and the PlayStation Store. So maybe these will eventually make their way, but the first one, the Kyoku Tiger Heli, came out last year, but still hasn't gotten a proper US release. It is... The bullets in this game are kind of hard to see, I guess, yeah, so... but also, like, the Darius Collections all got American eShop releases, so that's one of them too. They're actually, no, they are. But they're published by Square. Taika. So maybe... Yeah. So maybe that was...
you know, front
Programming note.
Square.
2 folks in the chat just are saying the music is drowning out a bit of what you're saying.
Oh, wow. Okay. I will fix that.
I just noticed they said that.
Oh, you know what? I don't worry. That's my fault because I had it still set for recording volume
Thanks,
levels.
Bob and Dale.
So are these games that you have a bit of history with, or are you kind of discovering them as we speak?
Flying Shark, I have very little experience with. Fire Shark, the Genesis version specifically. I'm going to give Flying Shark one more. We're going to give it one more go here in the arcade version before I switch to something else.
I do love that you get the name of the music track that's playing while you're one of your gadgets off to the side there.
Yeah,
Forgive your all.
Yeah, so it's... I don't know. I, like... Again, shoot-em-ups are a niche genre. Old shoot-em-ups are a niche genre, but cave games that are getting a re-release are getting worldwide releases and that kind of thing. During the Not E3 thing this year, Limited Run Games announced that they're doing a physical version of Dodonpachi Daiojo Black Label.
Is that the newest one?
No, that's the 4th one. I can't remember what the newest one.
Resurrection?
Yeah, that sounds right. But is it this book? What the hell? Yeah, so now we get, when you quit out of a game, you get like the whole layout of like, this is all of the games on the whole thing. Wardner, that's the name, or Pyros, it was known in the US. That's the extra game, which is not a shoot 'em up, it's a side scroller. I'll show that off before we're done here, but let's check out let's see if the US version is maybe a little bit kinder, or if I suck just as bad at this version. But yeah, Toaplan is, I mean, the Toaplan diaspora is what gave us Cave and Aiding/Rising, and I never remember who the other like major developer from the Toaplan diaspora is/was. I can't remember, but there's another like relatively well-known developer. Now, of course, this is kind of a bummer that the US release of this game does not include all the gadgets, so you just get like, straight gameplay, which is...
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think most purists want to play the Japanese version anyways, because that's like that's the version that was released by Toaplan as they made it and wanted it to be, and whatever. But
any idea how much they were changed? I mean, I know sometimes games got changed a lot, but not really this genre usually.
I believe this one is maybe slightly easier. I don't remember now. I did like a little bit of research and I watched some videos, but that was a while ago. But I believe the US version of some of these early Toaplan games, they're easier, they're a little more forgiving than the Japanese versions, because the Japanese versions were real hard. But I'm not sure. I mean, I certainly feel like I'm doing better right now, but that might just be because I just played this level and now I'm playing it again. But
The practice does make perfect, as they say.
That is true. Yes. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, M2 has said that they want to eventually release every Toaplan game as part of this series, and that's a fair number of games. They were a developer for over a decade, or about a decade, so... Whoop. Oopsie doops. So, you know, hopefully that is something that they do eventually accomplish, and we do get, like, the full Toaplan. Which, like, they did some stuff that weren't... I mean, obviously there's Wardner is on this collection. They did some other games that weren't shooters as well, though, that are... And they did, like, some run-and-gun ones that some people really like that are sort of, like, ground-based, you know, Ikari Warriors style run-and-gun affairs that some people really enjoy. So it'd be nice to see, like, all of that stuff. Let's check out the NES version, Sky Shark. Not to be confused with Captain Skyhawk, which was...
Why would you confuse
Wikipedia
a shark and a hawk?
claims Tamsoft, Raising, Cave, Gazelle, and Takumi.
There you go. I think Tamsoft is the one that I was thinking of. But yeah. So a whole bunch of people who came away from Toaplan, put together some stuff. So they're like a pretty influential developer. Oh, there's a turbo one. There's a turbo.
There's 31 games listed as developed by them on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah. So far they've got like 6 or 7 are out there now. So I guess at this rate there'll be a few more collections. The interesting thing is that with all of these, they include a download code for a puzzle game called Teki Paki, which I just sent one to Kurt before we started here tonight, because I don't know why it's that particular game, and they're giving away that code, a code with every one of these. So like if they do end up doing 6 or 7 of these collections or whatever, like everyone's gonna have
a lot of Teki Paki.
7 downloadable copies of Teki Paki.
Maybe that's the plan, man. Maybe the Teki Paki supremacy.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't care about all these shooting games. They want to spread the good word.
spread the legacy of Teki Paki. I mean, it doesn't not make sense. I'll check out Teki Paki as well before we're done here tonight.
Good, I was getting worried.
Yeah. Even though, strictly speaking, the copy of Teki Paki that is on my Switch did not come from this collection. It came from the other one. Make an exception.
Is this collection available on PC also, or is it Switch only?
It's definitely also on PS4.
Not what I asked, but okay.
If it is on PC, I don't know what distribution channel it would be through. And I do know, like, I didn't realize this until recently when I heard someone who lives in Japan talking about it, but apparently, like, there is some level of region locking on Steam, which I kind of assumed was not the case.
Maybe just in what they show you on the store?
Yeah, I think it's based on what, and sale prices as well, apparently, are to some extent. Are to some extent locked away by region on Steam, which I had no idea until I heard someone say that recently. Which I guess, like, I guess you would have to for certain games that are like, because, like, for example, Resident Evil 7 is like pretty heavily censored in Japan, which is weird for me as a person who remembers playing games that were censored on their release in the United States. But, like, there are actual laws about what you can and can't show in video games in Japan now, apparently, and even the unrated, like, the version that you have to, like, go to the porn store to buy or whatever, is still, like, has some cut content compared to the American release.
Is it Ethan's hand?
No, it's when you have to reach into. So
That was a joke. Come on, give it up for my Resident Evil 8 joke.
oh no, his hand gets good and fucked up in 7 too. Don't worry about it.
I know. I just...
No, it's the scene. But now since you asked, you're gonna get the detail. There's a scene where the cop who gets killed when you fight Jack the first time, Lucas puts his head in the refrigerator and then tells you have to go find him to get a key, and to get the key you have to reach down his throat, like he's decapitated body is there, and you have to like reach your arm into his neck hole and pull this key out.
And this is no bueno.
And in Japan, apparently, like, decapitation is not the thing that you're allowed to show anymore. So in the Japanese version, his head is not cut off and put in the fridge. His body is still, like, his corpse is still whole, and the key is just, like, taped to his chest. When you used to go find his body, and then you just, like, take the key off of his body and stuff like that. And I know that, a fair amount of it apparently is restored for the... I think it's a Z rating is what they give it in Japan.
0Z.
The Z stands for quality.
That's right.
Z stands for zombie.
That's right. So that apparently is... Some of that stuff is not fully restored even in the 0Z version of the game. So
I just saw Tim Follin listed as the music.
Yeah, that port was apparently done by Software Creations, which is why it wasn't a very good port, I think. But the music was... I couldn't hear... when I'm doing this, it's hard to hear the music super clearly, so... But I'm sure it was good, because Tim Follin,
Yeah. He's fucking Tim Follin.
Yeah, exactly. This is a game with a good soundtrack, too, but again, I can't hear it too much. So this is the sequel, Fire Shark, and I think most people consider this to be the better game, the better of the two. This is the one where the titular Fire Shark weapon is just this ridiculous flamethrower, and when it's fully powered up, you have these giant flames that just kind of wave around the screen, like kind of killing anything that even gets close
All
to
the
you.
time, or is it like a
Yes.
temporary thing?
No. Once you have it and it's fully powered up, that just is your weapon. Is this completely bananas flamethrower thing.
Bananas flambe, if you will.
Yes, exactly. And then you can see in my item table there that there are colored... Well, now you can't, because now there isn't one coming up. But there are colored gems that will change the weapon. So the red gem is the titular Fire Shark. I need a Mike. What kind of spring do you have in your controller?
Kind of spring in my arcade stick?
Yeah. How many pounds? How many pounds of
I
torque?
forget. I upgraded it a little bit.
Me too.
I don't remember if it's 2 or a 4 now.
So mine came with a 2, and I bumped it up to 4, and I still feel like it's not enough tension. Like I want to get an 8-pound spring and put it in here.
I can't remember where I got my spring.
I think I got most of my stuff. I think came from. Oh God, what's the name? It's a fighting game. Like they sort of specialize.
Lizard something or other?
No, it's Okay, so this is the green weapon. It's like a laser thing. What is the name of that? I can't remember. It's
I'm pretty sure I got a kit with 2 different springs in it, and I don't remember which one I actually wound up going with.
2 is really light. 2, it feels like it doesn't really spring back at all. You know?
Yeah, but I think that when you buy a Sanwa stick, it comes with like a 1 or like even like maybe 0.9 or something. It's just like super duper quick and no resistance at all.
Is it? I mean, this is a Sanwa stick. I thought it came with a 2.
You don't think you've already modded yours to have more resistance?
No, I have. I put a 4 in it. But I'm saying
Oh,
I think
okay.
it came with a 2, and then I put a 4 in. Yeah, I know. If I continue, my score won't be tracked in the thing. Nope, did not need a bomb. Ugh. This game is like weirdly cruel in that your ship, like your plane starts on fire for a moment when you're hit, and you get to keep control and keep shooting for a moment before you crash.
Oh, and then you die?
Yeah.
Wow. That's damned. Can you like finish a boss during that time and then not lose your life?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. That's a good question.
There should be like an achievement to do that.
I don't even know what happened on that one. These games are really hard to play while you're like trying to talk at the same time. But I did want to at least show off the fire shark weapon. So this game also suffers to some extent from the Gradius problem, which is like as the levels go on, you want to have better weapons, but when you die, you lose all your one hit. You lose all your weapons, and then you're starting over from scratch, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I really don't
guess
like
I'm
that.
just fucked now.
Like really not my favorite kind of shooter convention.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'm just gonna tank this one, and I'm just gonna start over from the beginning. That's what I'm gonna do. We'll check out the one or two of the regional variants in a minute here.
So these all look like games that could show up on Mister, but I'm guessing none of the arcade ones have.
I thought someone was working on the Toaplan core.
Oh, you know what?
It's based on the 68,000, the Sharp 68,000 processor, like so many arcade games did it, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, theoretically, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just, like, from where I'm sitting and trying to talk, the bullets are so hard to see. Like, I just... yeah. But yeah, I thought somebody was...
True, I think I have seen signs of that.
I know that, I mean, Null Object has been doing a lot of work on the Cave.
Yeah,
A
that
bunch of
supports
those games are available now.
that supports 2 games officially, and I think a third one's almost been released. What is it? Espra Day is out, and I think
It was Dodonpachi was the first one, right? Dodonpachi.
Yes,
and then
Dodonpachi is-
Espada.
I streamed Dodonpachi when I did my Tate stream like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then Espra Day is now official, and there's another one. Is it Escalуда?
That would make sense,
I don't know those games very well. Like, I knew Dodonpachi, and I might have played some Donpachi also. I can't remember. They look weird. Some of those games look really weird.
Yeah. That's true. True and accurate. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, especially since I don't like support him on Patreon or anything, so I didn't have access to any of his beta cores because they were coming out. Yotego just put out like Buster Brothers and Buster Brothers 2 for his Patreons recently, which I mean, I kind of my general opinion on Buster Brothers is if you played a Buster Brothers, you have played all of the Buster Brothers.
The Brothers Buster.
Yeah.
He's filling out a lot of back catalog stuff right now. It feels like I don't remember if he's working towards a particular system or just kind of doing wherever it takes
he's
him.
been saying that he's been working on Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Right, but I mean in the arcade stuff, because like with the CPS 1 and 2 cores, he filled in a whole bunch of like kind of earlier Capcom games. He's like, well, this one's got like one chip that's going to help me out later on and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't know if his current arcade works are kind of going somewhere or if he's just doing the stuff that he likes.
I think that's probably mostly it. I know that I don't know to what extent he is working with Furtek on Ninja Turtles, because that's like Furtek is like trying to map the like some of the chips on the Ninja Turtles board right now.
Right.
And I don't know.
So once they're mapped, maybe he's going to do the core.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Is this for taking cores?
He did the Neo Geo core.
Oh wow.
By stripping all the chips with acid and like reading the traces.
Well, that's in my mind. Furtek was the chip decapitator guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. But, yeah, I don't know. I actually haven't plugged my Mr. in much lately. Let's see.
I was saying I fired mine up the other day and played through like the first 5 stages of Parappa the Rapper. And A, that game is still incredible, and B, something happens when you get to the bathroom stage where just all of a sudden that game is impossible. And I don't know what goes on there, but like the timing's always been wonky in the original Parappa. Like as someone who's played a lot of rhythm games, Parappa 1 has always just been like, okay, like this is straightforward enough that I'm just gonna mash on buttons until I get the result that I need, but like it never felt kind of good.
I vaguely recall that. The last time I played any of those games was before I had a CRT again. And so it was sort of like I got a copy of Jammer Lammy and just sort of like tested it to make sure that it worked, but like couldn't really play it in any meaningful way because Jesus Christ. The US version of this game is apparently much easier because you respawn right where you died. So that helps. That will do me a service. I wonder if changing the version to the super easy version also has me respawn. Yeah, but I do vaguely recall from like back in the day, like that the timing on those was a little weird, but I couldn't speak authoritatively about it at this point, I don't think. Alright.
The whole game is a little weird, but when you get to the 5th stage, it just suddenly becomes impossible. I don't entirely understand why, but it really feels like the rules change at that point.
Have you considered that perhaps you are not feeling the funky flow properly?
At stage 4, the funky flow was felt.
I thought you said the bathroom stage is where it got hard.
Yeah. The funky flow is stage 4. In the rain or in the snow, got the funky flow.
So this is the basic version of the, this is your basic Fire Shark weapon.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully I am able to keep it together. Alright, so we're upgrading. Now we got two fire. Okay,
Doesn't
and
look
then
that much like a shark at this point, I want to just say. Like, artistic license and all, but I think I could draw a better shark than that.
Well, it's not fully upgraded. looks a little bit more like fins. But then, of course, like, the stupid blue item had to fly directly into me, which switched me to a different weapon.
Doesn't look kind of like you're angrily spraying ketchup all over those guys.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so obviously this version is going to be a lot easier because it respawns you right where you died. So it also looks like it maybe gives you... Hey, there, I beat a stage. I'm pretty okay at the Genesis version of this, but I feel like the Genesis version is a little more forgiving than the arcade version, probably in part just because like it can't do all the things that the arcade version can do. Also, am I crazy to think that when I was playing the Japanese version, the screen also scrolled from side to side, and now I'm locked to... I don't remember, and I'd have to go back and check. But I would have sworn that I was able to have some wiggle room on the...
I'm afraid I did not see. You guys been keeping up on all the stuff that was announced last week?
I totally missed the Microsoft thing because it was like in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday, which that's not what I meant to do. But other than that, I was doing my best to keep up. I watched the Sony thing that was, I guess, now like 2 weeks ago, and then I watched the Devolver thing. I watched the Limited Run Games thing. I watched the Capcom thing, and I caught up on a lot of trailers from like a lot of the other stuff. But I wasn't gonna watch the Wholesome Games thing or whatever. Like, I don't.
Because you're too cool for Wholesome Games, Joe.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have a decapitated police officer's head in the fridge, you're not interested.
Yeah, I mean, that's I'm not the only one. But yeah, I mean, I was
not the only serial killer here. There's more of us.
That's right.
Who among you?
That's right. So Ninja Turtles comes out tomorrow and is going to be on Game Pass right away. We found that out. The Microsoft thing, right?
Early reviews seem to be pretty hype on it.
Yeah. New Cuphead DLC comes out very soon, finally.
Not new so much as only, right? There hasn't been any before this, has there?
I guess it depends on how you define that, but there was like an update that added some extra like weird like additional phases to some of the bosses that you could get if you met certain conditions. I played some of that stuff on stream when it was like there's like when you fight the vegetables at the very beginning, there's like an alternate version of the carrot part of the fight or something. I don't remember exactly now.
Right.
But yeah, so that's not really DLC because it wasn't like a separate purchase, but it was an update that added the weird wedding level has like an alternate ending thing. The last phase, the genie has an alternate last phase, I think, stuff like that. But yeah, this is I guess the only DLC. I'm also curious if you'll be able to play as Miss Chalice in all the original stages, or if she's only for the
Does she play differently, or does she just have a different kind of look?
You know, I'm not completely sure. The trailers haven't really made it clear. But I kind of hope that she adds something to that. I mean, it would be cool if she did, and also kind of annoying because presumably only one person can play as her. So if she does play differently, like it would be kind of a bummer to be like, you know, both players want to use her. But oh my god, you don't have the option. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm stoked about it. It's a whole new island, which there were 3 islands in the original game, right? So it's, I guess, like a third of the original game worth of content, you know, theoretically. So, yeah, I don't. What else? What did you see that you were looking forward to, Mike?
Gameplay trailer, but no release date for Silk Song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that will be day 1 on Game Pass.
Yep.
So here's my thing: is that I haven't seen that trailer, and now I cannot look at any Hollow Knight news for the next year.
Why is that?
Because I don't want to see a trailer that's gonna kind of spoil me on a bunch of stuff in that game.
I watched about 30 seconds of it and went, you know what? I don't want to watch this.
Now I have to avoid all discussion of that game from people who have seen the trailer for up to and potentially more than 12 months if it gets delayed.
You know what, Mike? It looks like more Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I saw anything in it where I was like, oh, that's like particularly shocking or interesting or different. It's just like, this is more Hollow Knight that you play as Hornet instead of the Knight. I mean, it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look like it takes place on the same map, but it clearly is the same, you know, it looks the same, you know, whatever.
They didn't turn it into a different game.
Right.
It's not a shop management simulator now.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're not playing as
Well,
Corner for selling maps.
it's not
to people.
only a shop management.
That's right. It's a floor
I would
wax and a
play the
dessert
shit
top.
out of a Corner for game.
Technically, it's Zelda who's in the shop.
Yeah, but you would want to play as Cornifer, like running around and drawing the map and whistling.
Yeah.
But then you're not keeping the shop. Who's gonna greet the customers?
I was shifting gears there. I realized it's two things are different.
But yeah, I mean, you should do you, Mike. I'm just saying, I watched the trailer and I didn't feel like I was. I don't feel like my eventual experience with the game was affected in any meaningful way by watching the trailer. That's only like, I mean, Kurt watched most of it if you watch 30 seconds, because it wasn't a very long trailer. And the big takeaway, I think, was mostly just like, it's going to be on Game Pass on day 1. And also they said within the I think the original pitch on the Microsoft thing was it is only games being released. Now I can't remember if it was this year or within
the
a
next
year.
12 months.
Yeah.
Within the next 12 months.
Right. And so yeah, people were like, "Oh, does that mean that this game is going to be out within the year?" And the Microsoft like publicity account was like, "Yep, sure does." So hopefully soon. Hopefully very soon.
I just say, don't make me tap the sign.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of Night Dive, who has done a lot of like, you know, remasters of mostly first-person shooters. Actually, it seems like is kind of their bread and butter. Is doing a 4K remaster of the Westwood Blade Runner game.
Oh yeah.
And they apparently went back to like all the original assets and like, so even like the cutscenes are going to look better. audio is going to be remastered for like full 5.1 or whatever.
Well, you say they're going to look better. They're going to look like crisp 2001 3D
They're going
assets.
to look like crisp 2001, or
Whatever
not even
that game was made.
1997 or whatever.
Right. So better is kind of a. As with the N64, sometimes seeing clearly is not your friend.
Yeah. Well, they apparently went back to like Westwood kept all the original like render files, so it's like they're not just like using like AI upscaling of like old Windows media files. Like they're actually going back to the original like assets and redoing the cutscenes, I guess, in a higher fidelity.
I'm just saying those assets probably look like ass.
Yeah, I mean I mean, from the trailer, they look like 1990 whatever, CG, but without all of the artifact that you would expect at this point. But
I'm familiar.
that's pretty cool. Apparently, they're
It's great that they're making that available.
yeah. Like I was stoked
I
enough
guess
when it was
GOG
just on
did that.
GOG, like, but now that it's like getting a kind of a proper touch up, like that's pretty cool. Apparently, limited runs release of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is forthcoming as well. Finally, so if you've been waiting with bated breath for
What kind of breath?
bated, that's a thing that's happening. Yeah, can't say I fully understand that one. I guess there's like a kitsch appeal to Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, but it's barely a video game. Like, I know people are like derisive about stuff like Gone Home or whatever, about like, well, it's not a video game, but like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties really is like it is very much skirting the fucking definition of like what is a video game versus like what is just like a multimedia presentation of some
Does it
sort.
have actual nudity, or is it just
It does.
kind of racy?
No, it does. There's but you had to like, so in the original, I remember I had an issue of EGM or EGM2 or whichever magazine or Game Players, I don't remember now. I had an issue of some magazine when I was a kid that had a code to remove all the censor bars from Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. But by default, there is no nudity, and I think it's still like, I think there's like a boob or two and like the dude's butt maybe, but there is no like full frontal nudity. Although there are 3DO games that did contain full frontal nudity.
Is this just like an 80s sex comedy in game format?
Okay, kind of, but like, so first of all, like not funny, and also like most of it doesn't actually move. Like it's like a slideshow, not like.
Oh, so it's a
FMV.
sexy PowerPoint presentation.
It's basically a sexy PowerPoint presentation.
I'm in.
It's a very odd, I mean, part of the lure of the 3DO was, Trip Hawkins' whole licenses, anybody can make a game on the 3DO, like we're gonna have this totally open, whatever, and so there are vivid video, vivid interactive games on the 3DO, but they're all
Quote-unquote games.
right. Again, they're pretty. At least the video moves in those, but they're pretty. They also kind of. There's one that's like a puzzle game, and it's like not a particularly compelling puzzle game, but like that one at least is like a video game.
Sexy Match 3, or it's a
trying
little
to
before Match
remember.
3 took off.
Yeah, it's definitely before Match 3 took off. I think
Unless
it's
you count columns,
basically-
which of course you should not.
Yeah, columns is. I don't understand why they like. every Sega compilation that comes out, they're like, what if we put columns in this? That'll get people
It
to
costs
buy
them 0.4 cents per copy to put columns on those things.
I guess.
They're
It
literally
actually
only
costs them
paying
more
for the
not to include columns.
They're
They're literally
charged a
only paying for the
non-columns
printer ink.
fee. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. That's because the guy running the license is actually the guy that developed columns, so he's always
Yeah.
putting a premium on it.
It actually costs them more to leave that space on the box with black ink than to put the colored logo in. So
Yeah, yeah. But I'm trying to remember. It's something. It's a very basic. I'm trying to remember if it's like a Gal's Panic. You know, like kicks.
Yeah.
Or if it's more like. I remember when I was a kid, a friend of mine downloaded a game off of BBS called Porntris. And it was just Tetris, and every time you made a line, it revealed like part of a super low bitrate pornographic GIF
yep.
behind where you had made a line successfully. So
Probably like 8 color.
something, yeah, just super washed out, artifacted the hell and back, you know, and like also only like 4 frames worth of animation. Just,
Oh, animation. Excuse me.
I said it was a GIF.
Yeah, GIF can be static.
Well, that's technically true, I guess, but how would I have known then that it was a GIF if it was a static image that time? But yeah, the other Vivid ones are like they're sort of framed like they're adventure games, but they're not. They're barely like a step above like a visual novel. Like, yeah, you kind of have like a decision tree at certain points, and then you see like, bad pornography, basically. But Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is like even kind of sub that, just because like the video doesn't fucking move. It's a slideshow. Also, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is trying very hard to be funny, and it super isn't. Like, it's like... I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I don't even know what kind of humor I would try to...
You don't even know what it's going for, even?
Yeah. Like, it's... I don't even want to say that it's like really shitty Kids in the Hall, because it's not like it feels like it's
weird enough for you to say that?
It's trying to be weird, right? That's sort of the thing. Like, it breaks the fourth wall a lot. It's trying to be kind of weird, and it sort of comes off like it's trying to be somewhat subversive, whatever that even really means in this context. But it's just it's not any of those things. It's a very bad game, and I don't understand. I mean, from a preservation aspect, it's been locked on the 3DO for so long, and it's sort of infamous. So I get now it's not like chained to the 3DO anymore. You'll be able to play it on the PS5, baby. But I don't know why you would want to.
It just really comes down to somebody somewhere looked at a graph and said, well, we can probably make more money than it'll cost to put this on PS5.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true.
That's probably all the thought that ever went into it.
Like, Night Trap, for example, is like a cultural artifact, right? Like, Night Trap is also not good, but it's it was discussed in the US Senate. So like there is something there, right? Like, this is a conversation piece at the very least. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties was like too late to the party to actually be, stir up any real controversy, and just like broadly isn't a very interesting or good game. It's bad by the lax standards of FMV games of the time, and it's just kind of like, I don't really get what the release itself almost feels like a joke. But since Limited Run is doing it, like, I'm sure there's going to be probably a $150 collector's edition that people are gonna shell out
with a
for.
60-page book written by Jeremy Parrish.
Yeah, right. Yeah, about the cultural significance or whatever of plumbers when they dies. So, yeah, I don't know. The limited run thing, they announced a whole, like, it was just this constant barrage of information. Like, they barely stopped on that one. They were just like, and now we're putting this out, and then we're putting this out, and this is coming soon, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and I think they ended up announcing like 30-some games during the limited run thing.
30?
And the presentation was only like 40 minutes, and so it was just like, it was like a mile a minute of like, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this. And it's like, all right, guys, like, Godspeed. Like, we're glad that you guys are putting this stuff out. Some of it, I'm just like, I'm sure some of the stuff that I order from Limited Run, people are like, why would anybody care about a physical version of that? So when I'm like, why would anybody care about a physical version of Glover? Like, there's people who are like, I love Glover.
I don't know what the deal is with Glover. Glover seems to have this weird cult following.
Glover has this weird cult following. You're absolutely right. And I don't understand it either.
Don't kink
I mean, that game got re-released on Steam last year, didn't it?
It did. That's the version that's getting the physical release now.
Ah, I see.
And I'm just like, I don't see it.
I mean, never underestimate what people like that they played when they were 7, you know?
It's true. Very true.
I got a soft spot in my heart for Totally Rad, and that game sucks.
But it has a fantastic localization.
That's
Oh my
not
god.
what the title tells me.
Yeah, the title has informed me that it is in fact Totally Rad. Are you saying that the title of a 1980s video game would lie to me?
Some hard truths yet to learn in your life, Joe. Turns out you don't have to die when you play Skate or Die, actually.
Well, yeah, no, you can skate.
Well, you're given the option
Yeah,
of skating.
Yeah, but when you stop skating, you don't immediately die, right?
Oh man, I never chanced it.
They say you're still playing that video game to this day.
No, I just shut it off. I just shut it off before I stopped skating because I didn't, I went right from skating to not playing the game anymore because I.
Well, it doesn't say skate or die as long as the game is on.
Well, I mean, it's worked for me so far. Also, Skate or Die 2...
Contract is written very broadly.
Skate or Die 2 has maybe the best title screen music in the entire NES library.
Well, in a world that has Tim Follin's work, that's a big statement to make.
I mean, have you heard the Skate or Die 2 title music? The game Skate or Die 2, by the way, is extremely fucking poor. It is not a good game at all. But the title screen music is... It has speech samples. That's part of what makes it so sick. They use the noise channel on the NES sound chip or whatever to get vocals in the title screen music, which challenge you to skate or die.
Can you count on one hand the number of NES games that have voices in them?
Well, let's see. Dirty Harry, right? When you start the game, Clint Eastwood says, "Make my day."
I did not know that.
Yeah. I
Why
remember.
would I ever play that game?
I never played it, but I remember it being written about in like Nintendo Power or whatever. It was like this speech sample like takes up like half of the cart space on this game. It's like
Cool.
And Skate or Die 2, and there must be others, right? That I'm trying to think.
Is the version of Psycho Soldier with the song on the NES?
No, I mean, there's like a chiptune version of the song, but it's
No, but not with the words.
I'm having a fucking rough go with this game. Yeah, it's a short list for sure. I'm having trouble thinking of a third game right now. So, I mean, with some of those like high-level mapper chips, there must be more games that did have vocal samples, but you know, I'll be damned if I can think of what they are. This is a game that is, like, not technically a bullet hell, obviously, but some of these sections, there are so many bullets, and you move so slowly, and your hitbox is so big, it fucking may as well be a Danmaku, because look at how big it, look at how...
You wouldn't have a big hitbox in a Danmaku.
Well, right, yes, right, but I'm saying, based on
Yes.
relative,
it makes the relative
to the
distance, yeah.
smaller number of bullets and the greater size of the hitbox, it may as well.
Right.
You know, like look at what's on screen right now. There's so many turrets firing so many bullets, and my plane moves so fucking slowly. There is no way that I can dodge those bullets. I have to be fully powered up with full speed, or I'm just gonna keep dying. And like obviously, by this point, I probably would have put fucking $20 into this damn machine if I was playing in a real arcade. Like I've just been credit feeding all the way through it, but I'm sure if you can learn the game well enough to be well equipped by the time you reach this point, it's somewhat trivial, but like I said, this game has the Gradius problem. Like, you spawn with nothing every time, and it's just like, oh, well, here's 100 bullets right in your face, and it's not 1,000 bullets like it would be in an actual Danmaku, but or something will just come from behind, fly right into your ass. But it doesn't really matter because, like you said, in a Danmaku, at least your hitbox would just be the cockpit of the ship and not the whole fucking sprite.
The whole shebang.
I have no idea how many stages are in this game or how close or not I am to finishing it. I'm probably going to switch to the Genesis version in a minute here. Oh wow, it's past 10 already. So actually, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll quick save this, I guess. And then I'll jump over to the Genesis version.
I haven't actually watched a whole bunch of the trailers from the various things, but I saw a couple things. I was thinking that Redfall looked like it would be fun to play with some friends, even though it didn't seem like it was.
Which one is that?
I didn't love this. Redfall, it's Arcane, isn't it?
Yep.
I didn't love like the style of the writing, but it looked like it'd be fun to play as a group.
But what?
The
Like,
kind of vampire killing Left 4 Dead
yeah.
co-op shooter thing.
I mean, that's an interesting direction from Arcane, right? Since they've done a lot of like one-player narratively focused. I mean, I guess technically Deathloop was 2 players, but only if we're invading a single-player game, right? Look at how much more of a reasonable pace these bullets move in this version of the game. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I'm interested in the Resident Evil 4 remake. I still think that it is a game that is just, it does not need a remake whatsoever. But they're remaking it, and it looks good.
It needs a remake more than Last of Us 1 does.
Dude, I don't even, like, I am mystified about that whole, like, like, it's also not even really like a full-blown remake, right? It's just like it's a remaster of the remaster.
The remaster, I want to say.
Remaster, yeah. And so it's just kind of like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
A 10-year-old game that they can spruce up and put on their latest thing to coincide with the HBO series that's coming out. I don't understand why that's a surprise.
Well, I guess partially because a lot of other, like, speaking of the Resident Evil thing, like, a lot of other developers and publishers have just been, like, making, like, when they put out a PS5 version of the game, it's just like, yeah, put in the PS4, your PS4 disc, and then, like, you'll get the fully 4K, you know, PS5 version of this game.
Except that they built them both at the same time. That isn't the case with this.
No, that's not true. The ray traced version of Resident Evil 2 Remake that just came out, like, part and parcel with that announcement on Monday was not a thing that existed when it came out in 2019. They just did that.
Did the PC version have ray tracing from the start, or was that only added kind of recently?
I didn't play it on PC, and I don't have a graphics card that can do ray tracing, but I'm reasonably certain that the ray tracing... Like, I think 8 had ray tracing, but 2, 3,
Maybe
and
not
7
maybe not
did
2.
not until this week.
All new.
And I think they have, like, new 5.1 stereo mixes, all that good shit. It's just like... If you have the PS4 disc, like, put it in your PS5, and then you can download the 4K ray tracing, you know, Dolby 7.1, fucking whatever, you know, version of this game.
I've been playing God of War on PS5, and it's just the PS4 version, and it's all upgraded to run at 4K and, like, super good frame rate, and it's real nice. It's really nice. I'm starting to almost think that it's like the best use case scenario for the PS5 is to play PS4 games, but at high resolution and solid frame rates.
I mean, that might be true.
It also gives developers an opportunity to train people up on something that doesn't really have any risk.
I will say we got a comment in the chat from someone called You're Not Alexander, who says, I think they need to stop remaking everything. I would agree with you, except in the case of the reference that is in your username, because God Hand probably could stand to have a remake.
God Hand, no. God Hand needs a sequel, Mike. It's different. We need more God Hand. We need another God Hand.
I think it could stand a remake because that game is really cool and interesting, but it's... Yes.
You
have to move on to God Beat.
That's right. Well, I mean, at the end of the first game, Gene does have both of the God Hands, right? So you would have a pair of God Hands.
That's not what the title told me. Let's go back to that.
That's what you call the sequel. You call it a pair of God Hands.
You call it God Hands, just like Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, just like Layers of Fear and Layers of Fears.
Or is it God's Hand because it's like Attorneys General?
There you go.
I mean, and to be fair, they're not even hands, they're arms.
It's true, it is
like
the whole
God
arm.
arms.
Well, but it's not. So that's one you're just going to have to let go. But
as cool as God Hand is, it's a very uncooperative game, uncompromising in its vision.
Yeah.
So, it'd be kind of interesting to see if they remade that game and kept the core concepts, but maybe iterated a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. The thing about remakes is it really depends. If you're going to do something different and not just be slavish to the original, then I'm fine with it. Which is kind of what the RE4 remake looks like. They're not going to be super dedicated to... I mean, that's what the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes were too, right? Is they weren't, like, slavish to the original...
Had some surprises, even for people who played them all.
Yeah. And so, you know, but if you're, like, stuff like from what I can tell anyways, The Last of Us, yet again, it just seemed, because, like, they didn't re-record any of the voice performances or any of that shit, right? It's just, it's a better looking version.
I can't imagine they would have.
Why? It's like, it was so good. That's like, if wouldn't need changing at all, so I'm assuming they would not have done that.
Yeah, so I don't know. But there was a rumor that Nintendo was going to have some sort of presentation that a lot of people pinpointed as being today, and then obviously that didn't happen. There was not a Nintendo Direct today, so who knows if Nintendo is going to do something this week or next week. Yeah, I don't know. But it's sort of an interesting phenomenon to me that we're just sort of locked into this, like, June is when we announce the video games. Like, you know, even though E3 wasn't a thing this year, and has sort of been less and less relevant, you know, the longer we go.
People got their habits.
Yeah.
Everyone's expecting the game news.
Yeah.
Why not give the people what they want, you know?
Yeah.
Face of Jeff Keighley.
Is that what people want? People want the face of Jeff Keighley? I'm trying to think of, like, what else. I'm confused about what's the Bethesda sci-fi Starfield? Is that what it's called?
Starfield.
Yeah. So I thought that was just like an RPG thing, but then like I saw there were some videos that came out during one of those presentations, the Microsoft one, I guess, yeah. And then it's like they're like mini games is probably not the right word for it, I guess, but yeah, I didn't really fully
mini games
key
are a proud
into,
RPG
like, what
tradition.
that's
Picking locks, hacking codes.
Yeah,
That's not a new thing.
Everybody's favorite part of RPG is hacking turret shit. Yeah, but it made it.
Hello from Cameristico. Hello, Cameristico.
Hey, what's up, Cameristico? So yeah, I guess I don't really understand. Is it an RPG with just a bunch of that kind of stuff in it, or am I misunderstanding what it is?
Pretty sure it's the Skyrim in space.
Yeah. Which event was it that was the horror in space event? No, they didn't actually show Dead Space. They showed a bunch of games that are like Dead Space.
They showed a whole shit of things like Dead Space, yeah.
Callisto Protocol.
Jeff thing?
Yeah.
Jeff Showcase?
Yeah, the Jeff Show. Yeah. It was like Callisto Protocol and so I saw people on the internet going absolutely fucking bananas about routine. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And I was like, and they were like, oh, like it exists. It's not vaporware. It's not like dead. And I was like, I have no memory. Like I've been paying attention to video games for like my entire life, and I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
The only person who I saw, like, one person say that, and the other person who I saw two people. One person who I know is a human, and the other person who I saw say, like, it actually exists, can you believe it, I'm so excited, was fucking Jeff, and that dude's a cartoon. So, like,
That dude
you know,
is a cartoon. True and accurate.
there's, like, are people excited? Do people know this exists?
I saw multiple people who are not Jeff Keighley shaped robots express their excitement over like it is a real boy, and it is finally happening. So
well,
you know,
that's the
I
answer.
don't know, but I had no idea what the hell it was. And then there was like a strategy thing that like at first blush was like it looked like it's another space horror thing, and then it was like, but surprise, it's a strategy game, and it's free to play, and it looks like fucking shit. And like,
well, hey, that
routine apparently was originally talked about 10 years ago.
that
No
was only
memory
the
of that.
opening cinematic. The opening cinematic.
That's true. That is true.
But I'd never heard of routine either, so maybe it's one of those like weird Berenstain Bears things. Maybe they're gaslighting us into believing that a promising trailer came out 10 years ago for a game that no one had actually seen.
Yeah. Also,
Wolf was delayed because of supply chain issues, and now it's in June.
I will say that I do find it interesting. We'll say interesting. Let's go with interesting. That we are getting a flashback to, which clearly seems
Yeah.
to not take into account Fade to Black. So whoever's behind that has done what we have all done and just pretended that Fade to Black never existed. So
You're not
A
adding
copy of that game.
Follow up to our discussion of pluralizing God Hand by saying that it would likely be named God Phallus. So
the God Wiener.
there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they didn't like the Flashback 2 trailer, which pretends that Fade to Black doesn't exist. It didn't show any gameplay, right? So we just don't actually know what that is.
Yeah, it did.
Did
It's
it?
a guy walking around like shooting at stuff and talking to people. That sounds like That sounds like what I know of Flashback.
Was it
I
in
call
2D?
Flashback.
Did it play like Prince
it
of
was like a-
Persia? I don't-
Side scrolly thing, but it was like 3D and looked ugly because video games are ugly sometimes.
I mean, but that game didn't look ugly at the time, Alex. It looked dope as hell.
It wasn't 3D either at the time.
No, but it was sort of it was trying to trick you into thinking it was. Right?
Only occasionally. Only in the cutscenes.
It was a 2.5D side-scrolling thing. There you
New one?
go. Yeah.
What fucking killed me? Horse shit.
Thinking about Fade to Black killed you.
Bullets.
The black did. You were too faded.
I was going to turn that around and decide that was not wise.
Yeah, no, it's. But that was like a super short. That was like a 40-second trailer as well. Right? So like, I don't who the fuck knows what to expect from that. I will say though, Callisto Protocol does look pretty fucking sick.
I mean, there's a bunch of people from the Dead Space team, and those games ruled, so,
Except for the third one.
well, can't have it all.
But also, they didn't actually show the Dead Space remake, did they? In any of this stuff?
No, I don't think they did.
Thought that was happening.
Yeah, Dead Space is another game that doesn't really need a remake.
It really
No.
doesn't.
Except for the
it's-
asteroid segments. They need to be skippable.
Yeah. They should just take them out. Yeah, I think it was Jacob Geller recently did like a video essay about like Dead Space still feels like new even now, and it's like, I mean, I haven't played it in a little while, but the last time I touched
That's stomp
one of
video
those,
games.
I was like, yeah, this doesn't really
Feels
Kind of
basically fully
seems
modern.
fine to me. Like,
Coming in January.
Kind of almost like, I don't know, about like a decade ago, everybody just kind of like said, we're done with video games, and just kind of kept doing the same thing over and over again. Sort of.
but now with roguelike elements, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I mean in like big AAA games.
Yeah, I guess
Obviously,
I'm...
there's people in the indie space who are doing like shit. Obviously, there's good games out there, games
Right.
that we like and have talked about, etc. However, it's like, yeah, man, just it's like a third-person like cover-based shooter or like a fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, or a first-person shooter. You run around and shoot guys. You can upgrade shit.
I would say that that's generally just always been the case. There's a whole bunch of samey shit, and
I
then
don't think-
something sticks out.
I mean, well, that aspect is true. I just think what the samey shit has like settled down into just like that's what video games are now. Like the PS2 generation was the last generation I feel like where there was just lots of weird shit all the time, and then it's like 360 and Xbox. Like
Where
Yeah,
even
'cause
big
no one can
publishers
spend-
were making...
No one
weird
can
shit.
spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make a game that is
Yeah.
like Power Shovel.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But also, I think the Xbox 360 generation codified a lot of what is now considered modern game design.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just that no one wants to be adventurous. It's also that we just figured a lot of shit out at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a discussion recently, people talking about like, oh, it's like what counts as a retro game? Like I think Retronauts is always used like, oh, 10 years is retro, and I don't really agree with that sentiment anymore, because I think that there are games from like 2008 that you can go back and play and be like, if this was released today, I wouldn't feel like, what is this archaic nonsense? Like,
Right.
it's just,
I'd still be like, this game rules.
or just like, oh, they didn't have the same graphics budget as whoever, but
Right.
Yeah.
and you could fake a lot of that by just putting ray tracing in, or like better particle effects, like stuff that you can get probably. I don't want to denigrate game makers, but like stuff that comes out of the box in like fancy new game engines.
Yeah, I mean that's a part of it too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's. I think there are some things that so visually, I think like, yes, there's ray tracing and whatever, but like generally speaking, it's way diminishing returns in terms of like. Okay, can't move in the air in this game apparently, so that's something that's good to know. This is like Ghosts and Goblins, except it fucking sucks.
So just like Ghosts and Goblins. I don't have an opinion on this game.
That's so weird.
Anyway, video games suck now. The end.
You're dumb.
Quote Alex R, guy
You're
who spent
dumb.
300 hours
The
playing.
last
Elden Ring this
5 years have been the best 5 years of video
There's-
games.
there's
Period. It's not even
zillions of
fucking close. This is.
games.
I don't know what you guys are talking
There's so
about. I
many
fell
good
asleep
games.
and just woke up, but
We
there's
weren't
a,
talking
there's a
about that,
million
Alex.
goddamn fucking good games out constantly all the time. Even now, when it's lull, it's ridiculous how
Yeah.
cool video games are now and how impossible a lot of these things would have been to make 20 years ago. So
I think
I don't know,
the
whatever.
only
Well-
real complaint that we were making is that a lot of AAA stuff has been following the same kind of formula
I mean,
for
that's
a long time.
because they don't fucking make any AAA games anymore. Like, like
Welcome back to where we were in the conversation.
right. It's not like they don't make them. Like, and it's fine because why? Like, who cares?
Who needs them?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck them.
I mean, they do make them though, right? Like that's like
Yeah,
like
but
Sony
not very
and,
many.
And
Not at the. I mean, yeah. Not
Look
at
at
the
look at how many
volume.
games EA made in like 2008, and then how many games they released last year, or like any of those big publishers or Activision or anybody. And it's just like they put like
Yeah.
10 years ago they put out 12 games, and then last year they put out like 2 games.
Yeah, because they'd have, two different studios that used to put out different games, and then they put them on. Well, we got to annualize this, so we'll make one studio do it this year and one studio make it next year,
Right.
and consolidate stuff that way, and then buy up other studios to be journeymen to those groups. So that's
Well, it just doesn't
how
matter.
that part of the business
I
works.
think I figured out why Toaplan made so many shooters.
Because they weren't
Yeah,
ready
I'm not
to
gonna
make
lie
the
to you,
top
Something else
ones.
that wasn't good.
Because they weren't good
This
at
looks
other
pretty
things.
dire.
This is this is
And
really-
it's we've been going for
yeah, it's past 11.
about an hour and a half.
Getting to
So
be
I
that
think
time.
thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll be back next week with something else. Yeah, not this. Not more of Wardner from Toaplan.
Is that what this is?
Yes,
Good. I was
Wardner.
going to ask what it was, so I made sure I didn't play it ever.
Yep, Wardner.
Ah.
Sounds like a really bad third string hair rock band.
Yeah, right. So, that's that.
Yeah, Leroy and Jake Wardner, went on to do other things that
That's
were
right.
better.
They did other better
Yeah.
projects. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.